Hey there. I'm going to talk a little bit about setting up a driver training program, obviously focused on safety, and we need to do a lot better at how we train our drivers. So, some of the things that I see are we assume a driver has a CDL that they have a certain amount of training. A driver has 15 years of driving experience, they have a certain amount of training. I hired a driver from another contractor. I have a certain amount of training. That's causes contractors to go, I really don't need to cover this or that with certain drivers because of their experience. And that's where contractors get in trouble. Is it really does. Is you think that the person has been working in FedEx and line haul for a number of years, that they know what they're doing, and they may not really know how they're doing. So I'll give you a couple of examples. I have drivers, and when I say drivers, more than 20 drivers have told me these things. There are myths in our system. So, myth number one is I am a FedEx ground driver and I do not need to certify my logs. That has come out of more than 20 drivers' mouths to me. Myth number two, I was trained that you only have to put on one safety chain from the dolly to the lead trailer because that's the way I was trained. So those were drivers that have been in the system, worked for line haul for a number of years, and those are just two examples of where you can't assume that the driver is properly trained and they know what they're doing. Thinking about that, the other major problem is we have approved training vendors that we are required to use, and the training is pretty generic. So, regardless of what training vendor you use, there is an orientation plan, usually about 5 to 6 videos. It could be on defensive driving and hours of service and pre trip inspections and stuff like that. Pretty generic stuff. Then we have monthly safety training, pretty generic stuff between all of them. And I'm in all of those systems, so I see what comes in. So then we have line haul, and we have certain things that we do differently than generic training. If you think about when you hire a new driver, they sign a form about door pull procedures. And even the procedures from FedEx are okay, but they're not the right procedures to make sure that your drivers keep out of trouble from a door pull situation. It's giving you the basics. The approved training is giving you the basics, but it's not really giving the in-depth training that you need. The biggest mistake I think that contractors don't do a good job on is a regular onboarding process that can be repeated, and having a checklist on exactly what those procedures are. So you get a driver through road test, regardless if they come from another contractor or from outside, from a recruiter or whatever. You get them the road test, you get the approved training done, you get the orientation training done from whatever vendor that you're using. Then you need to have someone get in the truck with them. The number one problem with hours of service is not the hours of service rules. It's not the routes that we have at line haul. It's not the way we do business. It is because the driver doesn't have a good understanding on how to use their ELD tab. We assume, oh, you got a CDL. The ELD mandate's been around since 2017. They know. No, they that is the number one thing that we see is a driver doesn't simply know how to use the tablet that is in their truck. And when I say that, they may go, they're not certifying their logs. But you're sitting there going, you need to certify their logs, and you're having them do retraining on hours of service. That's not the problem. The problem is they don't know where the button is in the ELD to certify the log. And they don't know if they go more than 8 days, then they have to log into a website to certify their logs, and they can't do it from the tablet. It's little things like that. It's drivers that have big fingers, and you have to recalibrate the screen so they can get to the button correctly to use it. understanding that the 30-minute break has to be taken in the middle of your day and not at the end of the day. I can't tell you how many drivers that I talk to that go, "I have to do my full 8 hours, and what I'm trying to do is stop exactly at 8 hours to take my 30-minute break." You don't have to do that. The regulation doesn't say that. Having the onboarding one-on-one. Get in the tractor. All right, we're going to go through the tractor notebook. We're going to go through, okay, here's the registration. Here's the annual inspection. Here is the insurance card. Here's who you call after an accident. Here's our fuel card. Here's the blank logs in the back. Here's how you do this. I can't tell you how many drivers do not know how to fill out a paper log. And yeah, you can find a video on that to do that, but you really gotta get in there and show them that. The big thing with the paper logs is you have to use a FedEx approved log, which is in the line haul office. So you get a driver that stops at a truck stop and goes in and get a J. Keller log, not gonna work. You gotta go through everything in the truck with them. Things like where the emergency equipment is, where if you have a Freightliner Cascadia, the fuel panel is under the passenger seat, under a panel. Those where the spare fuses are. So if I'm a DOT, I'll say, driver, where are your spare fuses? Oh, they're in that panel. Volvo 860s, they're on up on the dash. You got to get in the truck with them. Talk to them about the camera. You have to pull a visor down. And we have to do that every now and then when there's sun. But don't have the visor over your camera at 2 o'clock in the morning. No, that's not gonna fly. So talking to them about the camera, talking about the ELD, talking about the notebook, and then going through pre-trip inspections. So pre-trip inspections, we assume that a commercial driver knows how to do a pre-trip inspection. However, we do pre-trip inspections differently in line haul. Tractor is parked up against the fence on this side of the building. You're doing a pre-trip on the tractor. Show them how to do it. Show them how to have the cables in the holders, the hoses and the holders. Show them how to look at tires. Show them how to look at mud flaps for defects and things like that. Tractor's up against the fence. We're getting the tractor. We've done that inspection. We lifted the hood, checked our fluids, all of that. Get in the tractor. We go around the building. We go to the dolly pit. There's a whole host of problems right there on the dolly. So other thing you got to teach them that is not in videos, it's not in your approved training is red tag procedures. So here's an aggravating thing. You're supposed to be out of here at 8 p.m. You got there at 7. You've done your pre-trip inspection. You build your set and your dolly's not. It doesn't have brakes. Got to break the set down. Go find you another dolly because somebody didn't red tag the dolly because you didn't catch it. Knowing those procedures and figuring out the FedEx rules, the line haul rules, and on these tips and tricks, that's what you're training. That's where the one-on-one training really helps. Going back to door pull procedures, yeah, we have written procedures. We make them, they have to sign it as part of their onboarding. Here's the thing that you have to do. Rule number one, have the switcher take the trailer off the door if you can, always. Then you never have a door pull incident if that happens. Rule number two is making sure that you open your mobile trip app, take a screenshot showing trailer closed. Step one, get out, walk to the back, go all the way to the rear, look at the hole through there, put your hand on the back door that is closed, take a picture that it's closed, walk back. If a loader opens that door after those two things, I can defend a driver all day long with line haul on that. But if you don't add those extra procedures that are not in the written procedures, they're not in the video training, they have to be on the one-on-one training there. And just having all of those things going through about gate procedures, speed limits on the terminal lot, all these little things. I handle accident after accident, ran into the gate, hit a pole, went over the grass, went over a curb, hit this, hit that. And it's all of this can be avoided by just following a little bit more training one-on-one with the driver and helping them know better procedures on that. It's it really can help on reducing claims and accidents with your driver, and even work comp accidents. And then finally is don't be complacent on your training. So door pull and or trailer coupling, if you drop a trailer or you have a door pull incident, is still 45 points on your SRS report. It's still a bad day for everybody. Drivers getting disqualified and all that. Have that training more frequently throughout the year. Don't rely on a signed safety sheet that says, okay, my driver's been trained on that. What I like to do is this month it's on reminding everybody on the proper procedures for trailer coupling. Next month is door pull procedures. The following month, trailer coupling. Following month, door pull. If you'll do that throughout the year and also help train your drivers on mentoring other drivers, if your driver sees another driver going, man, you're doing that wrong, encourage that. So hopefully these will help you build a stronger training program and will help keep your drivers out of trouble. Thanks.